Hi and welcome everyone. I am your host today, Professor Talk. Welcome to the survival broadcast, and today is Privacy Tuesday. But here's one of the cool things, and I want to share this with you before we get started. As you see, I've got a new prop, and we kind of trying some new background things, but for those of you that are here, I would encourage you to check out today's goal. If you are not able to see today's goal, I will mention it later in the broadcast of a way for you to take advantage of what's going on. But one of the cool things about being a member of Patreon and being coming on over there and getting more behind the scenes things is that you get a chance to interact with me. And one of my subscribers over there, they're a longtime listener here, one of my subscribers is telling me that they had a couple of vehicles for sale. So as a way to be able to contribute to the community, if you are looking for a couple of new pickups at a good price, I'm going to give you some information. So here's what he's got: a 2005 four-wheel drive F-150 gray with a white topper, 167,000 miles. He is willing to deliver for a fee, but if you come pick it up, cash out the door is $3,000. Any work is okay. So it needs tires, but it has a brand new battery, AC and heat work. You can reach out at 574-398-7977. You can text or call and ask for Clyde. Also, he has a second vehicle, a 2010 white Dodge Dakota, 181,000 miles. He wants $5,000 for it. Everything works: new tires, new alternator, and a new radiator. So this one's $5,000. If you reach out to Clyde at 574-398-7977. One more time: 574-398-7977, either for the 2005 F-150 or the 2010 Dodge Dakota. So let's go ahead and get into today's broadcast. Whew. Welcome. You are listening to Survival Broadcast, where sovereignty isn't a suggestion, it's a strategy. So, just so you know, I got to give you a legal notice. I am not an attorney. Nothing in this broadcast is legal advice, financial advice, or a substitute for professional consultation. I am a free individual sharing what I've learned about protecting personal sovereignty in a digital age. If you want official answers, go hire a lawyer. If you want the truth the system doesn't want to tell you, you're in the right place. So today is Privacy Tuesday, and we're not here to talk about trendy apps or feel good firewalls. We're talking about enforcing your rights online, off grid, and everywhere in between. So because if you're not enforcing them, you're already losing them. So today, what we're going to be talking about is how to enforce your rights, your right to privacy, especially in the digital area, or you will have no rights and be erased. So, you guys have heard me say this quite a few times. A man on a desert island has no rights. They say that, but that's only halfway true, because neither does the hawk soaring over it nor the wolf beneath the trees. And yet, they are freer than any lawyer could ever define. Rights are not man made. They are not given by governments. They are not documented in courtrooms or debated in parliaments. Rights are embedded in your very existence. And every creature born into this world, hawk, wolf, cat, dolphin, or even a human being, is endowed with the same sovereign claim to live free, unowned, unmanipulated, and undisturbed. So nature is not a legal system, though. Nature is law itself, the system of balance, responsibility, consequences, and freedom. No court needs to exist for a lion to enforce its boundary. No constitution needs to be written for a bird to claim the open sky. And no government needs to grant permission for a deer to walk through the forest unharassed. Rights do not depend on approval. They do not require language. They do not change with technology, borders, or empires. To be alive is to possess the right to be. But here's where the human species has gone wrong. We've stopped recognizing this law. We replace it with contracts, policies, and permissions. And now we'll call it freedom when we're merely allowed to exist inside the walls of an artificial system. That's not sovereignty, that's captivity with good marketing. Even in nature, rights don't protect themselves. The wolf enforces its territory, the bird defends its nest. The whale communicates across oceans to maintain harmony. And likewise, if you don't enforce your right to speak, to move, to think freely, or to remain unobserved, you're not sovereign, you're domesticated. You're owned by a system that profits from your silence. So, no, this isn't just about being private. This is about reclaiming your place in the natural order. It's about living like a free being, not a programmable unit in a digital feedlot. So you don't have to be arrested to lose your rights. You don't need handcuffs to be enslaved. You just need to accept the illusion of permission, to stop acting as if your sovereignty matters. So every day, your location is tracked, your speech is filtered, your emotions are studied, your decisions, they're nudged along. Your silence is used to justify more control. And because you're still allowed to order pizza and post selfies, you think you're free. But here's the truth, you're not. You're being studied, you're being sold and shaped like livestock in a digital pen. That's not living under natural law, that's living under engineered compliance. Now, here's where it gets real. You don't need to claim your sovereignty unless you're willing to respect it in others, not just other humans, all living beings. That means dogs, cats, birds, anything that is a living being or that you consider to be a living being, is what we mean by all living beings. You don't get to demand your right to speak while silencing those you disagree with. You don't get to demand your right to roam while building fences for others. You don't get to expect privacy while violating the boundaries of animals, ecosystems, or fellow beings who share this earth. To violate the sovereignty of others is to betray your own. That's the paradox. You must be willing to live by a law that holds, even when it's inconvenient, even when someone says something you despise, even when another creature does something you don't understand. Because if you want to be free, you must leave room for others to be free too. So let me make this clear. You don't need a law degree to assert your rights. You don't need permission to be sovereign. You don't need to understand legalese because the law you're standing on is older than the language that we speak. It's instinctual, it's primal, it's sacred. If something violates your boundaries, you know. If something invades your space, you know. If something manipulates your behavior, you feel it in your guts. You've just been taught to ignore that voice. This isn't about paperwork. It's about learning to trust your internal compass again and having the courage to act on it. You become prey, you become predictable, you become controlled, you become a unit of compliance, not a living being with will and presence. And the worst part, you forget even what it means to be free. You start thinking freedom is being verified on a platform, having 15 minutes of speech before you're banned, or being allowed to own property as long as you keep paying the state to use it. That's not freedom. That's domestication with paperwork. So, what does enforcement actually look like? It's not always legal letters and courtrooms. Sometimes it's just simply saying no. Sometimes it's walking away. Sometimes it's unplugging. Sometimes it's defending a line. Even if you're the only one standing on it, it means protecting your data, refusing to comply with surveillance tech, questioning privacy policy that limits natural expression, challenging anyone who tries to regulate your thoughts, your body, or your space. You don't owe the system your obedience. You owe the earth your authenticity. So here's the bottom line. Your rights, like the hawk's sky or the dolphin's ocean, only exists if you live like they do. They're not renewable. They can't store them in a vault and pull them out later. If you don't live by them daily, you lose them by default. And when enough people forget to live free, the world becomes a cage, even if it still looks like home. You were born sovereign. You will end your life as a sovereign, but you will do it what you do in between is up to you. You can enforce your space, your voice, your essence like every wild creature does, or you could let it be absorbed into a machine, like one silent compromise at a time. The system will never ask permission to take from you. Why are you asking for permission to defend yourself? So, this is Privacy Tuesday, and we're not here for gimmicks or gadgets. We're here to remember that privacy isn't a feature, it's a form of sovereignty. And sovereignty isn't just for humans, it's the right of all beings to exist, to express, and to enforce the sacred boundaries nature gave them. Or because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So before we get into the three simple ways, I want to take a moment and see if we have any questions in here from the audience. I have opened this up for those of you that don't want to lurk and want to ask questions. You can definitely ask questions along the way. I want to let you guys know because we're going to move into three simple ways to protect yourself. And this doesn't require you to be a lawyer or to have, a lot of technical experience. What it requires is your understanding of your rights as a human being to be able to live. And so, what we're going to be doing today is after this broadcast, by the end of the night, if you go over to hobotuck.com, I'm going to give you three basic templates to use. You are not allowed to resell them. These are for free. And these are going to be notice templates. This is going to be what we're going to be talking about in the next section. That way, if you want to enforce your rights, you have some tools to start working with. Now, if you need legal advice, I'm always going to say go talk to a lawyer if you want the official answer. But if you want to understand basic due process and how to handle your own affairs, listen to me long enough and you will actually learn something along the way. Okay. So if you come on over to hobotuck.com and you decide that, hey, I want to get these three legal notices, they will be there. I will put a link to them in the description once I put it up there, or you can just wait for it to show up on hobotuck.com and it will be there tomorrow. So three simple ways. First of all, you want to understand the contracts that you're already in. Every click is a contract, and ignorance is not a defense. Most people don't realize that terms of service and privacy policies are legally binding contracts. When you click agree, you're giving away rights, sometimes permanent ones. Companies often bury clauses that allow them to sell your data, track your location, silence your speech, ban your account without appeal, or even hand over your content to law enforcement without any notice. So, what would be a step for you to do is to use tools like terms of service didn't read to quickly scan. Excuse me. You'll have to use. Oh, okay. So the name of this tool is called Terms of Service Didn't Read. I will post this link for you also in the description. To quickly scan major platforms and see what rights you're giving up, then audit your digital footprint. You also want to start deleting or deactivating accounts you don't use. You want to start using aliases, so different names, emails, phone numbers. I actually have an email that I've had since 2005, back when Google or Gmail was invite only. And from that account, or from the original account I had, I created several different dummy accounts to create my ghost account. And I still have my ghost account. At least I think I still have it. I haven't ever put in any of my legal information. It's actually called Harry Pothead. So for those of you that know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. So create different aliases. Also, never give your real birthday or full legal name to platforms that don't need it. So unless they're doing an age verification because you might want to watch adult content, don't give it up. Okay, you're not opening a bank account, you're just using the platform. The second thing you want to do is you want to learn how to write and send a simple notice. And this is what we're talking about. So if you are going to want any of these notices, we will have a template for you to use. You will have to fill in the blanks, but it will give you something to start with. And I always recommend that you read it to make sure that it applies to your situation. Because if you don't put it in writing, it didn't happen. If you're not accurate, you just slap something on a piece of paper, well, then, you might run into some issues. So you don't have to sue to assert your rights. Sometimes just sending a written notice can scare a company or government office into backing off. You're not threatening, you're documenting. This is called lawful notice, and it's been used for centuries. This is part of due process. Examples of what you can do. And before I give these examples, I do want to give you a personal story. I had a friend that was wrongfully terminated because of false accusations. That's the most I can say. Uh, because I sent a 5 paragraph notice that we were intending to sue. Within a matter of minutes, they got back to us crying uncle. And within a matter of days, I had the agreement signed. But because they thought I was her lawyer instead of her friend, she was supposed to rewrite it in her own words, not use mine. Yeah, I had to sign a gag order. I'm not allowed to give details of the case, anything like that, but I can give you a general roundabouts of what it is that that transpired. But this is how powerful a notice can be if you use it and you use it correctly, because you can use a notice of revocation of consent. That means stop using my data. You can do a cease and desist. And it doesn't matter what, if you're in media, you might want to do a cease and desist to stop contacting or surveilling you. Um, if that's part of the terms of service, like that you may be in, but that requires that you go and you read the terms of service. Excuse me. Um, you can also do a cease and desist, like if somebody, like my content, if somebody decides to use my content without my permission, I can send them a notice to cease and desist, and that notice to cease and desist will, if they don't do it, anything that they do moving forward is now a legal process, because they've now refused to abide by copyright laws and stuff like that. So a cease and desist can be used in many different ways. Also, a notice of liability, which means that any harm that results to you from them sharing your data, whether it be with malicious actors or not, you can actually hold them responsible for. So you give them a notice of liability. So use basic templates, keep it polite, specific, and send it by certified mail or email with proof of receipt. So this is the most important thing. So you're going to want to go down. It depends upon how deep you want to get into the weeds, but all you really got to do is do a certified mail, and with a return receipt. It's usually the green ones, the pink ones if it's international, green ones if it's domestic. I think I'm correct on that. Um, so yeah, you just do something like that, and then once you get the return card, you always send them the copy of the notice, and you keep the original with the original signatures. You just send them what is called a certified copy. So when you go to do the notice and you want to have your signature notarized just for authenticity, you can also get a certified copy, keep the originals for yourself, and send the certified copy off. Because if there's ever anything in question, if you do not have the originals, then it may not be admissible later on. That's something that most people don't know. You can also avoid high risk platforms. Why would you do that? That violate natural rights. Some platforms aren't just invasive, they're designed to destroy your sovereignty. Not all tech is created equal. Some platforms are built to serve you, others are built to study you, control you, and silence you. These are the most avoid or to replace. So you want to replace or avoid Facebook Meta, because it monitors your behavior even when you're off platform. That actually affected me with my business years ago, during after the shutdowns. TikTok, they have aggressive tracking and foreign data sharing. Google, such as Gmail, Docs, and Drive, it scans your content automatically. So even everything I have on my Google Drive, Google already has it, and they're already harvesting the data. Amazon tracks your behavior, and microphone via Alexa. Ring cameras often share footage with law enforcement without your consent. So replace these with privacy respecting tools. So you can use your own domain or a website, or you can use Proton Mail instead of Gmail. You can try using Signal instead of WhatsApp. You can move documents to LibreOffice and Nextcloud. You can also browse with Brave or Firefox, or plus use uBlock, which is which is another tool. But here's the thing: there's all kinds of free tools, and if you're gonna go with a browser, do something that's Firefox, or not Firefox, but use something that is native to Linux. And Firefox is really not that good on Linux. I would use something that is more native to Linux than something that's more native to Windows. But Firefox is one that you can use. It also has built-in software. So the bottom line is you don't need to understand the whole legal system. Just start enforcing boundaries. Contracts, notices, and platform choices are the front line of your freedom. Stay alert, write things down, and stop giving blind consent to companies that treat you like a product. Let me know. So what we're going to be doing over here is that we're going to go to the website. So for those of you that are watching, sorry, yeah. So we're gonna go to the website, and it's going to if you want to go to the website, you want to be able to um, if you want to be able to get some templates of these basic notices, I can give them to you. If you would like me to make you a custom notice, you will have to reach out to me, friartuck@hobotuck.com, and I can write you a custom notice. Like if you're a broadcaster like me and you want to protect your video content, I could write, I could make sure to give you a notice template that would work for you, to where you could fill in the blanks, such as the company name, dollar amount, stuff like that. Also, if you're doing any type of media content, such as you have stuff on your website, this might be a good time for those of you that are curious. You should go look at my, I think it's my terms of service page on my website. Let me go read this to you. I think it's, let me read this to you real quick. Let me see if I can find it, because even in my website, I've done some things that are, I think it's the privacy policy. Is it the privacy policy or the terms of service? Hobotuck, relationship, content, okay, provided as is. No, it's not the privacy policy. It must be the terms of service. Okay, hold on a second here. So terms, Hobotuck, infinite, all content is okay as is. Okay, content ownership, and penalties. So like on here, so I have my overview, my relationship. So this site functions as an informational, membership-based, and transactional platform. Users may consume free content, join mailing lists, and purchase digital products or subscriptions. So all content on hobotuck.com is provided as is for informational purposes only. No guarantees are made regarding accuracy, completeness, or outcome. Use at your own risk. And I got to put things like that on there, because some of the stuff that I talk about, most people copy and paste it and don't understand what they're doing. So in order to protect myself, see, this is my notice right here. If anybody ever wants to sue me, the lawyer is going to come look here at my terms of service and see what it is that I have. But I also make it simple. You must be at least 18 years or older to use this site. No scraping, bots, or unauthorized redistribution. No commercial use without written permission. All content, including broadcast, writings, downloads, and videos, is exclusive property of me. Unauthorized use will result in liquidated damages of no less than $50,000 per violation. Because if somebody's going to do it, you need to make it so steep that they know if they get caught that it's going to be a hefty price. Let's see here. Purchases, third-party services, community conduct termination. Okay, so jurisdiction and governing law, which is the final one. Use of hobotuck.com constitutes a private sui juris agreement governed by natural law and mutual respect. This agreement exists outside the jurisdiction of the United States or any corporate entity. So when you come to my website, if a lawyer tries to sue you, tries to sue me, he's gonna have to sue me under a violation of natural law. And that's the important part. Like, you come into my website, you're gonna get to see, you understand that this is the terms. And so, what does sui juris mean? It means that you are within your own right. This is between you and me. There is no third party. You come to my website, you understand that my website is my website. It may not be accurate, it may not be complete, it may not be this, it may not be that. You operate at your own risk. It is up to you to discern whether or not you are willing to act on the information in which I provide. When you do that, you are responsible for the consequences that come from that. See, that's the thing about freedom and rights and stuff, is that most people forget that freedom and rights comes from responsibility, duties, obligations, responsibilities. And those responsibilities, if not upheld properly, or enforced or followed through on, creates the degradation of society, of relationships, of community. And so that's why it's important that, we start moving ourselves towards a society of responsible human beings. That's why I wrote my terms of service again, to say that you are governed by natural law. That is the highest law form there is. We are governed by God's law. We are not governed by the laws of the United States, the state of Missouri, the state of Arizona, the country of France, or the country of Russia or China. Nobody has any jurisdiction over this except for you and me. And regardless of your citizenship, it does not give you jurisdiction. So this is how you operate outside the system while still being in the system. So, or as Christians say, you are operating, or excuse me, you're in the world, not of the world, or something along those lines. So this is just something for you to think about. If you're thinking about, hey, I'd like to do something that is cool, and I'd like to protect myself, I would strongly recommend you go read my terms of service on my website, hobotuck.com. You will get to see that when you come there, we do not sell your information. We're not giving your information out. All your information is for internal use only. So if you sign up for my mailing list, if you do anything through my website, you have guarantees in my terms of service that it is completely 100% private, and it is nothing that you have to worry about. It is what it is. Okay, guys. So if you guys want to search around my website, I strongly recommend it. Come on over there. I will put that link to this software down in the description after this. But you know. I really want to cover one of these frequently asked questions, though, because I think it's very, very important. It says, what does it really mean to enforce your digital rights? Because if you're not enforcing it, it's not a right. It is a wish. You need to understand. Here's the thing. If you want to understand what natural laws are, go hike. Go sit out in the forest. Sit there on a log for about, I don't know, 3-4 hours. Observe all of the different wildlife that moves through, how they all can sit there and coexist. They're not worried about, well, my species is better than your species. My green is better than your green. It is nature, and it works in harmony because it operates on certain rules and certain laws, certain truisms. And if you really want to understand where your rights come from, if you really want to understand anything about your rights, what you're going to have to do is think along the lines of go and observe nature, because then you might start to understand your rights. So for example, one of the things that, like, I talk with animal lovers, and animal lovers don't like it when I say this, but I always say it to them because um this is my own thing. So, what is it? What is it that I usually tell them is that, you say you love an animal, but why would you capture an animal? You wouldn't want to be captured and enslaved for somebody else's amusement. Why would you do this to another animal? Is that animal not the same living being as you? Whereas, because the thing is what you do to others, others will do to you. This is an immutable law in nature. And so, in the same way that Planet of the Apes shows us that that the apes would enslave us in the same way that we've enslaved the apes. But it was bad. It was a bad thing because apes enslaved humans, not that humans enslaved apes. It's like those that sit back and talk about abortion versus a death penalty. You value life in the beginning, but if you screw up, we're gonna give you the death penalty. Whereas on the other side, they're like, we don't value life until it actually comes into existence and the state can actually manage it. And then, we want to make sure that you live no matter how heinous of a human being you are. When in reality, if we were to do it the proper way within nature, is that all life is important because all life is born out of love and all life comes from the creator. And there's a maxim in law that says the created is subject to its creator. So by being subject to your creator means that you're subject to natural law before you're subject to any other law, before man's law or any other law. So if you really call yourself a spiritual being, or if you call yourself a purist or a naturalist or a traditionalist, this is something that our founding fathers understood and lived in their daily life. But as we've gotten disconnected from nature and from the farm, this is what we have lost. This is what we are no longer able to see. So for those of you that really want to understand, something as simple as what does it mean to enforce your rights? If you don't want somebody touching you and they touch you, what are you going to do? You're going to get aggressive back, and you're going to slowly escalate it until it escalates to a point where it's out of control or you exit the situation. Okay, that is a natural right that you are instinctually enforcing. All of your rights are that way. When if you want to sit there and talk about the sun, the moon, and the stars, and they say you can only talk about the sun and the stars, you're not allowed to talk about the moon. Well, you want to do it, and what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you doing that? So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna close out the broadcast a little bit early tonight. I want to say thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next broadcast.